If you would like to get consistent new customers or leads for your business using just your website, you've landed on the right video, because today we're going to be talking about websites or billboard sites versus a sales journey, or you might have heard the term a sales funnel. Once you learn this skill, you can predictably grow your business by getting new people interested in your stuff and buying it. And if you stick around till the very end of the video, there's even a little bonus on how to build your own lead or customer generating machine in record time. So let's jump right into it. Typically, when a business builds a website, they most often get pitched on the digital presence, or every business has a website, or you should be talking about your stuff online. The problem with this mindset is it's a lot like opening up a business in the middle of a desert. You don't have the advantage of foot traffic, and you don't have the advantage of people discovering your stuff like you would a physical location. Now, a lot of businesses fall into the billboard site mentality, and this is what hurts them so badly. Now, it's not that one is better than the other, we will get to that, but it is important to understand the distinction, because this, along with this, will allow you to predictably get new customers. Now, let's say you had a local business, something like a landscaper or a CPA or a law firm near you. They kind of all follow this same formula, which is basically you land on the website, maybe there's some navigation up here with some buttons or text or something like that. Maybe there's a little logo here that talks about the business, and maybe there's a happy image of a customer, and maybe some text about what they do and how they do it, and probably a button or two here. Now, this is your standard formulaic website, and that's not a bad thing, because the data says that these are very high converting. They work effectively, but you're also probably asking yourself, if they work so well, why are people not buying? This is the problem with having a billboard site. The experience that you create when they visit the website is typically not intent on getting them to make the next step. So even underneath this, you might have extra things like a few services, you might have some extra add-ons, maybe some logos of stuff you've worked with, maybe some customer testimonials with some nice 5-star Google reviews or Yelp reviews here, and then they love your product, they say it's so great, but it's not really clear where we're going, or more importantly, what step you want me to take. So as you browse through a billboard site, you typically get to the bottom and you'll kind of just see the same thing of like a contact form, maybe some social media links. Hopefully, the person who visits this site ultimately takes an action. Now, is this a bad thing? Not necessarily, because you do need this to highlight your brand. You do need this to highlight your business, but unfortunately, it is not the fastest and most efficient way to grow your business, and it's not the best way to get new customers or leads. Because while this should exist just for organic discoverability on things like Google, or if somebody recommends your business, they can share that link to your website, this is typically broad. It's going to be something that theoretically anybody could visit, and theoretically any one of them might take an action, but it's not really clear who is taking that action. It's not really clear where they're going. Why does this matter? Well, there's 3 key issues with this, just like I've been alluding to, which is how do I go to the next step? How do I take the next action? And even if it is something like a contact form, they still want to know more details about why they should contact you. Having just simply an email and a phone number on here is not enough for them to take that next step. There's no urgency, there's no pressing matter, there's no pain that you're targeting. And for instance, what I commonly see with sites like this is they're pretty much just commodified, which means that if you're a landscaper, for instance, and this says, we've been doing landscaping since 1981, we're, local to Seattle, here's a button to contact us, that's not really engaging. It's not really enticing me to take any action. I've seen 10 other landscaping sites that say the exact same thing. So how? Where do I go? What am I going to do? How am I going to take this next step? And more importantly, why should I even take that next step? If I go to your contact form and then I have to fill out this lengthy thing, I don't know when you're going to get back to me. I don't know what you're going to contact me with. Are you going to call me? Are you going to email me? What is the process that it goes through? And most importantly, no intent. This is the biggest reason that a billboard website does not convert. And by convert, I mean the person reaches out and ultimately turns into a paying customer. Intent means that when you're trying to broadcast your message to the world, everybody is theoretically going to have a different position at where they're at in the buying journey. So if I'm selling landscaping, that might be somebody who just happened upon the site. It could be a bot. It could be somebody with a $15 million home who needs a new landscaper. It could be a commercial entity. But there's a reason that this doesn't work. And I think the best analogy to illustrate this is like a car dealership. When you go into the dealership and you walk in and you're trying to buy a car, you're at different stages. You don't know if you can afford the monthly payment. You don't know what type of car. So the car salesman comes up to you and says, well, what brought you in today? Oh, I want this, I want that, I don't like this. So they are going to help you navigate the process of buying that car to maybe get you a sedan, to maybe get you an electric SUV, to maybe get you a minivan. They have to figure out. The problem with a billboard site and how this relates is this site cannot adapt on the fly. It would be great if as soon as I clicked on this site, it said, hey, first name, last name, do you suffer from problem ABC? But they can't do that. They unfortunately are not like a human who can adapt on the fly. So what happens is you end up basically running your ads or doing your marketing, and you're funneling all your traffic to this homepage, which is not good because there is no intent. The thing is if you get 1,000 people to visit this and only maybe 1 or 2% of them, which is a pretty healthy rate, I would say even less than that, are actually reaching out and converting, you're just wasting more of your ad dollars. You're throwing more of your hard-earned money into advertising that ultimately won't work. But this could be anything. It doesn't matter. It could be ads. It could be social. It could be SEO. It could be influencer marketing. It could be anything that you're driving traffic, but we don't want to drive our traffic to just the homepage because that's a bit like throwing somebody in the middle of a store and being like, go find our stuff. And they have no context for anything. Now, the faster and more efficient way to think about this is to use what's called a sales journey, or you might have heard the term sales funnel, you might have heard the term marketing funnel. So instead of driving traffic to a homepage where users are going to have to learn what you do, hopefully build that trust, take the initiative to find your contact page, reach out or book a Zoom call with you, go through all of this work, and they still don't even know the value of doing so, of reaching out to you, why it matters, you can build what's called your own funnel or this journey. So if you think about it, this is exactly what the structure would look like. So let's say that you have typically 3 types of people who are going to buy your stuff. And in most cases, this is going to be cold, this is going to be warm, and this is going to be hot. And you'll notice as we go down the line, there's less and less leads coming in. But what you're looking for is to get more volume into this. Now, how does this relate to a website? Well, you want to set up what's called a landing page or something within your sales funnel, because this is just one page and there's other pages underneath it, sure, but it's not clear how they are interlinked between one another. So your sales journey is actually a whole process of each one of these pages or experiences strung together. So let's say, for instance, that I wanted to sell weight loss. I couldn't start by just saying, hey, go to my gym's website and pay $300 to book a class. So what I might do is create a funnel where I have people who get a free class, or maybe even beyond that, I would say something like a free workout guide. And then that free workout guide could turn into upselling on booking a class. And then that could turn into ultimately them paying for the monthly fee. And this just keeps going on and on. But you have to start here at the top. The cold are going to be people who don't know about your stuff, they don't know about your product or service, but they do understand they have a problem. And it's your job to intersect that problem. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to sell somebody a condo in Seattle. Cold traffic is going to be people who are like, where should I move to? Where's a better place to live? I don't like living here. And they're going to probably go to something like YouTube or browse through Facebook. And what you could do is target either an ad, or you could create content, or you could get somebody else to create content that intersects that particular pain. So then that person would click on this page. Maybe it's an ultimate guide to moving to Seattle. Maybe it's the top 10 things about living in Seattle people should know. The goal is to get them to the first page of your sales funnel to ultimately get something. What that means is, let's say they go to this website, and this is a bit what this structure would look like. And we'll cover these terms in just a second, but it's important to know this before anything. Most of that means that there isn't going to be a nav bar. There isn't going to be other stuff to distract them. It's usually just going to be a button, and then it's going to be your header that says something about the pain they're experiencing. And then maybe underneath it is some social proof, like some reviews of people solving that, or screenshots of maybe Google reviews or people who've gone through this journey. But really, you just want them to take this action. And what that action is, and why it's important and why we call it a sales journey, is because this is always supposed to be less risky but higher value. And what you're looking for is to ultimately get the email of this person. So say, for instance, that they click this button on your new sales funnel here with their cursor. You want to suddenly go and get that person's email. So if you can get their email, then you have a point of contact to then reach to that person. This might be 6 weeks, this might be 6 months, this might even be 6 years. But at least if you can get this, if you can get their contact information in exchange for just taking that action, you will have solved a lot of the problems. Why does this matter? Is because let's say you wanted to market your business and you really wanted people to buy your thing. Let's go back to the different stages here of cold, warm, and hot. Most businesses are targeting here, which is people who know about you, they know you exist, they know what your product or service does, they know what value it provides. They just need a reason to basically interact with it. This could be a new offer, a summer special, some sort of price change, some sort of new thing, maybe even just reaching out and calling them and saying, hey, would you still like to take those next steps? But all of this traffic here, where people ultimately have those problems, you can still take them from there and go on this journey. So they might start off as cold leads, but you're going to get more qualified leads for less spend and less time. And these sales funnels are acting as basically virtual salespeople. Going back to that car dealership analogy, if you think about it, it's just like creating a landing page for somebody who wants to buy an electric sedan. Now you know exactly who to target, what they're going through in terms of pain, and what they want in terms of outcome. So you can funnel those people in there. So that person who wants the electric sedan is going to live here in the warm traffic. And what you're doing is just getting more and more eyes on there. So going back to the condo one, if we move, for instance, from I'd like to move to a different spot to, well, I'm weighing between Seattle and Chicago and New York and LA, this is your objection stage right now. And then the hot one is just, I'm ready to move to Seattle. I just really need a reason to buy that condo. And the easiest way to think about this is going to be this structure. So right now, this is just going to be, there we go. Right now, this is just going to be education, objection, and this is going to be offer. So all you're doing at the cold stage when people see this portion of your sales funnel is educating them on the process. Oh, I want to make more money? Here's a way to make more money. Oh, I want to get more fit? Here's a way to get more fit. Oh, I want to move to a different state and city? Here is what that process would look like and the advantages of it. Then they're going to start to have a conversation in their head about, well, what if it doesn't work for me? What if it's too expensive? What if I've never done X, Y, and Z? This is the part where your funnel ultimately would be starting to basically cancel out those objections. You want to enter the conversation they're having in their head with new content and new areas down the funnel. And then when the hot one comes in, that is when you can start to open up your core offer or whatever it is you're really trying to get them to buy. And interestingly enough, inside of these different areas, you can also have smaller sales to also pre-qualify leads. If the cold one is just giving something away for free, this warm one might be a low ticket offer. This could be a $49 thing. This could be a $10 thing. This could be something just to say, hey, I'm only looking for people who are willing to pay to solve this problem. That is a pre-qualification strategy. Now, if we go back to that web page on what one ultimately would look like, the whole goal, again, is to change the language to the specific intent here, or specific intent where they're at in the funnel, to get them to take a specific action and to build trust initially. All of this is in exchange for their contact info. So don't have a navigation bar, don't have a lot of different colors flying around, no crazy animations, no over-the-top videos. Just have something where it says solution, or pain, and then basically how you do it, and then a big button that takes them to the next steps. Now, what happens after this is ultimately going to be up to how many steps in your funnel. The general rule of thumb is the more expensive your item is, or the more it costs, the more steps in your funnel. It's pretty easy to get somebody to buy something if it's only $19, and that might require 1, 2, maybe 3 steps in the funnel. But to get them to buy something that's $50,000, $500,000, even just something that is basically over around 1,000, I would say, it might require more steps. And these are proportional to one another. More expensive, more steps. So what you have to think about is, what is the first problem that you could solve? And actually solve that. This is all the value that you want to create at the first stage of the funnel. And this is only about educating them. And you're moving them to the next stage, which is ultimately going to be objections. And then this is still more value to help them connect the dots. And only then will you open up on your offer. But this is a very simplified example, and I'd even give you offer in the value as well, which could be spiderwebbed out into tons of different examples. This is what would be a 3-stage funnel, but you might have more steps in between. There might actually be 2 extra steps in between these, which would be a funnel that's ultimately going to be probably quite enhanced to get somebody to buy something. But this process needs to happen. So what you're ultimately doing is segmenting each one of your target customers. So this is going to be basically gathering, basically qualify, and then basically convert. So if you have a funnel right now that essentially is like this, where I go to your website and it just says, please buy my thing, or it's not really clear how to buy your thing, if it's not an add to cart, let's say this is a professional service, there's really no reason for people to reach out to you. Hence, this website is not going to be your ticket to growing your business. If you can get this down, then ultimately what you can do is, let's say you run $1 for your ad, and then you pump that dollar in to show somebody this sales funnel, and you have a specific target, which, let's say in this case, it could be buying a condo. If you're trying to sell it to tech workers, then it might be prudent to change all of the language on this landing page that you're going to create specifically to what tech workers want who are moving to Seattle. But if you can take that dollar and you can turn it into $2, then all of a sudden you have an aggressive way to scale this business that's predictable. But it doesn't stop there. Let's say that your landing page is doing really well right now, just turning 1 into 2. Maybe you change the headline, maybe you change the image, maybe you change something on the landing page to get it even better. Suddenly that $1 turns into $3. And if you can just keep doing this process over time, what you're doing is building a sustainable lead generation strategy. And the best part is, just as I alluded to, you can infinitely scale this. So it really doesn't matter how big you want to take it. It just matters how long and how much work you're willing to put in to take this and get maximum amount. You can think about it like you're just basically squeezing out as much value out of this dollar that you're driving traffic to this thing to as possible. And that means that you can get better leads automatically. You can get better leads who are pre-qualified as well. And you can also do that with a lot less effort, time, and money on your part. So let's break this down right now. Again, gathering, this is our cold stage. Qualify, this is our warm. And convert, this is our hot. So just like here, we have our education, objection, offer. What can we do to get them to understand and gather that data? So these are going to be the common questions that people have on a more emotional level. So think about all the questions that people ask that could be solved by your thing. If I'm selling weight loss, then this might be, why even though I get 8 hours of sleep every day, do I constantly feel tired? And then maybe I could give them a checklist, I could give them a guide, which will then turn into the first stage right here of just educating them. Hey, you feel tired all the time because you're not working out. You're sitting in a chair every day, and it might be more, beneficial to you if you start to work out. Here's what that process looks like as the first step. And they're going to say like, oh, man, I've tried working out. I just don't have time for it. It really just, it's not worth the effort. Like, I don't know, this isn't for me. I'm a coder, you know. Now at this point, you're just doing not just you're past the education stage, but you're starting to basically do, I would say like the myths. You're just myth busting at this point. So they're going to say like, oh, it takes too long. So this might be the next stage in your funnel where, you know what? I'm sending this guy emails, or maybe he booked a call with me, and I say, okay, well, I understand that you think it takes too long, but actually if you just have 30 minutes a day, you can actually lose the weight, get more fit, and now we're on to the second stage of our funnel here, busting these myths. So this might be another landing page that talks about all of this. After we have our emotional state of, well, this will help you feel less tired if you start to make these basic moves. Here's some stretching exercises in my guide. Now we're saying like, well, you want to consistently feel this way. So here's some other ways that you can keep that going. And this is, you know, this is why it doesn't take a lot of time. This is why other people have achieved it. This is where I would start to put a lot of your social proof. If you have other, like in this example of weight loss, if you have other coders who've gone through this journey, put those testimonials in there, put those Google reviews, put all the stuff that shows examples of it as well. You can use that as leverage. The objection stage is where they're saying, it's not going to work for me. The best response to objections is proof. Gather as much proof as possible, screenshot those reviews, get testimonials, get people to vouch for your stuff. And then when you're at the conversion stage, this is literally just selling. And now what's great is you've already gone through all the stages of pre-qualifying this lead. And at the very end, this is just how much do you want to make, or how much do you want to pay for this problem to go away? It's $100 a month for my workout program. It takes 30 days. You'll lose this amount of weight. I noticed that you filled out our XYZ form, so it sounds like you're still having these problems. Do you feel like this is going to be a problem 6 months down the line? They're probably going to say that because you've already done the pre-qualification. Do you notice how we went from all the people here, my terrible stickmen, to probably just about half down here, and then just down to one qualified one? But the best part is, these people will probably still have that problem. You have their contact information, and as we move on to the last one, which is our third step, all you need to do is to go back and reconvert these leads, and they didn't just visit your website and leave for no reason. You still have contact with them. What you can do is just keep dripping those pieces of content that you're creating, or those ads or those offers, into this cycle. So now you have customers who are also on your list in your CRM, interested in your stuff and ready to go. And as you notice, it's just getting smaller and smaller. And you can actually even go beyond this as well. The next stage of this would probably be an upsell or advocacy, which is basically somebody who is vouching for your product or your service. They've gone through this experience, and now you can get them to find other people to recommend this to, basically get your customers to get you more customers. Or you can go the upsell route, which is, okay, you've gone through this process of buying the first thing. Would you like to buy the next thing? It never, ever stops. Now, which one of these is better for your type of business? Both. Honestly, you should be having all of these at any given moment, because if you don't, then your business will unfortunately start to hurt in the long run, because this is not enough to consistently get leads and customers. And this, unfortunately, is still going to be something that on its own cannot keep a business going. You want to have all of this be front and center, and you want to have all of this pretty much just reserved for funneling like ads, or if you have a Facebook group, putting them from your Facebook group into these, or anything like that. This is more private, this is more public. But you can't really survive without a website, and more importantly, you can't really survive without some sort of consistent lead gen strategy. Now, if you've made it this far, I hope this has been valuable, and I promised you a bonus. In the description will be a tactic that you can use completely free to start to build your own sales funnel. All you have to do is copy and paste the components and use the steps inside of it to start to visually map out what this might look like. Now, there are other components into this that are more advanced. So if you are struggling to build your own sales funnel yourself, what you can do as well, if you just want to skip all of this and get the personalized guidance, is in the description, the very first link or the pinned comment is booking a one-on-one free phone call with me, and I'll start to outline how to build your very own customer and lead gen funnel specifically for your business and using the proven tactics that we have used. But until then, I hope this was educational, and I hope that you are able to start implementing these changes in your business so you can grow, earn more, and achieve success like you deserve. I put out a video like this once a week as well, so I would appreciate a subscribe. Comment below if there's something that you're struggling with on starting your business, growing your business, or even just building out your own sales funnel, and I'll make sure to address that and give you the right resources that you need. But until then, I'll see you next time.